Do not mix Neewer and Godox flashes until you watch this video. Being the avid watcher of my channel that you obviously are, you are now aware that Neewer just came out with the new Q4 Pro 400 watt second flash, and that all the newer Neewers are now compatible and can be triggered with Godox flash triggers, and that the older ones can be updated via firmware to do the same thing, to be triggered by Godox flashes. Now, the one thing that I pointed out that kind of probably Gus glanced over, most people, they didn't really pay much attention to it, but it is a big deal if you're trying to use Godox and Neewer flashes at the same time. I just want to make you aware of something, and remember what I liked about the earlier Neewers. The original Q4s, the Q200, was that I loved their warm colors. I liked how they gave skin tones that nice golden warm look. I love that about the Neewer flashes especially. Well, I thought about it, if people are trying to mix Godox, which has always been a little bit on the cool side, a little bit on the bluish side, with the Neewer flashes, which are a little bit on the warm side. So if you got Godox on this side, Neewer on this side, you're going to have a bluish light on this side of the face and a golden light on this side of the face. So that's why Neewer with the new Q4 Pro changed the color temperature of their flash from 5600 to 6000. And they also did the same thing with the Q120. And that's why they did this. So you can match Neewer flashes with Godox flashes and the color is the same. But I love the original warm golden colors. The original ones gave skin tones. That's what I loved about the Neewer flashes. So here's my my thing here is you're not stuck with the old or the new colors. All you have to do is pull the bulb out. What makes the color difference is 80 to 90% the bulb design with the gases that they have in here and the way it's structured, and about 10 to 20% the capacitor discharge and the circuitry inside here. But most of the color difference is actually made by the actual bulb. Maybe even the frosting they have on there might affect it a little bit. But if you took out the new bulb and put it in the older flash bodies, you will get the colder color that matches the Godox flashes. If you take the older bulb and put it in the new flash, you will get a warmer color like I like. And to validate my theory, I tested all my flashes with my trusty expensive Seikonic C800U color meter. And sure enough, the original Q4 with the original bulb came in at 5487K. That's pretty warm. I like that. But when I put the bulb from the new Q4 Flash Pro into the old one, I got a temperature reading of 5822. That's pretty close to 6000. And that explains that, like I thought, 10 to 20% of the color difference is the electronics and the capacitor discharge. Tuning inside the thing, but most of it is the bulb. And then I took the new Q4 body, took out the bulb, which it comes with, which has a color temperature reading of 6010K, and put in an original Q4 bulb into the new body. I got a meter reading of 5743K. So it did warm up the temperature, and it does work both ways. You can use old bulbs and new flashes and vice versa, and they still work. They don't blow up. And just so you know where the color temperature of all the other flashes are, the Q120, which is a new Neewer flash, came in at 5899, so that's pretty close to 6000, so that's one of the newer ones with the cooler colors. The Q200, which is one of my favorites, also because of the warm color, came in at 5582. That's actually a little bit below 5600. Now the Godox AD200, even the earlier versions with the early bulb and everything, they still came in at 5852, which is closer to 6000. So that is a cooler color. And if you use the Fresnel with this thing, that's really cold. That's really blue. The original AD600, which is my favorite, even the earlier models, came in at 5714. The Geekoto GT200, Geekoto, hi, came in at 6379. That's even cooler than the Godox, but it's a great light. Now you might go, oh, that's a little too much on the blue side. Well, let's get what most people consider the most professional flashes of all. Profoto. The B10X came in at 6346, almost exact same reading as the Geekoto, which is cooler or bluer than the Godox. And the big B10X Plus So that is also bluer than the Godox ones. So why are these lights so blue compared to, everybody thinks daylight is 5600, right? Well, daylight isn't one color. At different times of day, you have different colors. If you go outside in the middle of the day and hold your color meter up to the sky and take a reading, you're going to get a reading of 5800. That's what it is in the middle of the day. If you take it earlier in the day or later in the day, you're going to get a warmer reading. It's going to be lower than that. It'll be like maybe 5,000 or whatever, maybe even 4,000. So that's getting further and further away from the 6,000 that these things are. That's why a lot of times when you use your flashes outdoors, your subject looks a little bit on the blue side. That's why I love these Neewer flashes, because they give you that nice golden skin color glow. All the other flashes, including Profoto, and actually especially Profoto, are a little on the blue side. So if it's like before noon or afternoon or later in the day, these things are going to come off looking pretty darn blue outside. Whereas the Neewer flashes are going to come, the older Neewer flashes are going to come in looking beautiful, nice and golden. That's why I love these things. So if I was to get a new Neewer flash, newer, I would switch out the bulb. I would take out the bulb and put in one of the older bulbs, unless you are mixing it with other flashes like Godox or Geekoto or whatever. If you're using your Godox trigger and you're using other brands of flashes mixed, then you cannot use the older flash bulbs that come with the newer. Older, I can't say newer because that'll make you think it's newer. It's Neewer, all right? Neewer. If you use the older Neewer flash, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, so yeah, it's wise to probably not mix your older Neewer flashes with any other flash like Godox, because you'll probably have blue light and golden light mixing together. Unless you're getting the newer Neewer flashes like the Q4 Pro and the 120 Pro. I guess the word Pro means it has the colder, bluer flash tubes on them. But I like the earlier ones. That's me. And I don't need to mix Godox flashes with Neewer flashes because I have so many Neewer flashes and I love them. I've got the 100, the 200, the 400. I don't need any other ones. I'm either doing Godox or I'm either doing Neewer. I don't need to mix it. I'm not wanting to, I saved $20 by not having to buy a Neewer flash trigger. Ooh. Anyway, so, all right. Well, I thought I'd bring that up because it's something you might want to be warned about. Mixing Neewer and Godox is the differences there in colors, all right? And even if you don't use Neewer, why some of your flash pictures outdoors, why the person looks a little bit too bluish. That's why. Especially if you're shooting later in the day or earlier in the day or whatever. And speaking of Neewer flashes, the winner of the new Neewer Q4 Pro flash is Joe Bertine of Jensen Beach, Florida. Congratulations. Okay, that's my little thing for the day. Mr. Information here. History Bob. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye-bye.